He was traded to a warrior everyone feared, but what happened next would challenge everything she believed about love and survival. Thank you so much for watching and for all your comments. Let me know at the end if you liked the story and where you're watching from and why you're following this. The year was 1876, and the unforgiving Dakota Territory sun beat down upon Emma Clark's face as she watched the world she knew disappear behind her. The wagon jolted beneath her, each bump in the trail a painful reminder of how far she was from Boston's cobblestone streets. Her Uncle Thomas, a weathered frontiersman, with little patience for her city sensibilities, had traded her to the Lakota tribe to settle a debt and secure peace for his trading post. "You'll learn to be useful there," he had told her coldly that morning. "Chief Gray Wolf's son needs a wife, and you need a purpose." Emma clutched her worn leather journal to her chest, tears threatening to spill onto its pages. At 22, she had come west after her parents' death, hoping for family and a fresh start. Instead, she found herself currency in a transaction between men who saw her as property. "We're almost there," her uncle grunted, pointing to smoke rising from lodges in the distance. "Remember what I told you. Don't look them in the eye. Do as you're told. Maybe you'll survive." The wagon stopped at the edge of the Lakota camp. Women paused their work to observe the newcomers. Children whispered behind their mothers' skirts, and warriors stood tall, expressions unreadable. Emma felt dozens of eyes studying her pale skin and auburn hair. Chief Gray Wolf emerged from the largest lodge, his face etched with the wisdom of years. Beside him stood a man whose presence commanded attention, tall and powerful, with obsidian eyes that seemed to pierce through her. His face bore the marks of battle, including a scar that ran from his temple to his jaw. This, she realized with a wave of dread, must be Thunder Eagle, the warrior she had been promised to. "I have brought what was agreed upon," her uncle announced, helping Emma down from the wagon with rough hands. "My niece in exchange for continued trading rights and protection." Chief Gray Wolf nodded slowly. "The agreement is honored." He spoke in accented but clear English. "She will join our people as Thunder Eagle's wife." Emma's legs trembled beneath her simple cotton dress as Thunder Eagle approached. Stories of his fierceness in battle had spread even to her uncle's trading post. How he had single-handedly fought off 5 U.S. cavalry soldiers. How other tribes feared his name. Now she was to be his wife. "I am not property to be traded," she whispered, finding a courage she didn't know she possessed. Thunder Eagle's eyes narrowed, and those around them fell silent. He spoke in his native tongue, words Emma couldn't understand, but his father translated. "My son says you have fire in your spirit. This is good. A weak woman would not survive here." Before Emma could respond, her uncle had climbed back onto his wagon. "She's your responsibility now," he called to the chief, not even looking at Emma. With a crack of his whip, he was gone, leaving her alone among strangers. Thunder Eagle gestured for her to follow him. With no alternatives, Emma took shaky steps forward. An older woman, Thunder Eagle's mother, Morning Star, emerged from a nearby lodge and approached Emma with kind eyes that contrasted sharply with her son's intensity. "Come," Morning Star said, taking Emma's hand. "You must be tired from your journey." In the lodge, Morning Star helped Emma settle, showing her where she would sleep and offering her food. Thunder Eagle had disappeared, much to Emma's relief. "My son is a good man," Morning Star said, noting Emma's apprehension. "Strong, yes. Feared by enemies, yes. But he has honor. He will not harm you." "Why would he want a white woman for a wife?" Emma asked, her voice barely audible. Morning Star's eyes crinkled at the corners. "The ways of the spirits are mysterious. My son has refused all women from our tribe. Perhaps they have sent you for a reason." That night, Emma lay awake on her bed of furs, listening to the unfamiliar sounds of the camp. Thunder Eagle had not returned, and she wondered where he slept. Despite her fear, exhaustion eventually pulled her into a dreamless sleep. She woke to find Thunder Eagle sitting across the lodge, watching her with those intense eyes. He spoke, and this time, Morning Star was there to translate. "He asks if you are afraid of him," the older woman said. Emma sat up straight, meeting his gaze. "Yes," she admitted, "but I will not let fear rule me." When Morning Star translated, something unexpected happened. Thunder Eagle's lips curved slightly upward. Not quite a smile, but an acknowledgement. He says you speak truth when others would lie. This too is good. As the day progressed, Emma was introduced to the rhythms of life in the Lakota camp. Women taught her to carry water, to prepare food, to tan hides. Her hands, soft from years of playing piano in Boston parlors, soon grew raw and blistered. Still, she worked without complaint, determined to show her strength. Thunder Eagle watched her from a distance, never speaking directly to her but always aware of her movements. When a group of young men from the camp stared too long at the white woman, his mere presence was enough to send them scattering. That evening, a feast was held to celebrate the summer hunt. Emma sat beside Morning Star, acutely aware of Thunder Eagle's presence nearby. The drums beat a hypnotic rhythm as dancers moved around the fire, telling stories with their bodies that needed no translation. Soon, Morning Star whispered, there will be a ceremony to make you his wife. Emma's stomach tightened with renewed fear. And if I refuse? The older woman's expression grew serious. There is nowhere for you to go, daughter. The white settlements would not welcome a woman who has lived among us, and alone on the plains. She didn't need to finish the thought. As the night deepened and the celebration continued, Emma slipped away to the edge of the camp. The vast, starlit sky stretched above her, indifferent to her plight. She was considering her options, none of them promising, when she sensed Thunder Eagle's approach. He stood beside her in silence for several moments before speaking. This time, without a translator, Emma couldn't understand his words, but his tone was unexpectedly gentle. I'm sorry, she said. I don't understand. Thunder Eagle pointed to the stars, then to her, then to himself. He repeated a word that sounded like the Lakota word for path that she had learned that day. Our paths, she guessed. They've crossed under these stars? He nodded, and for the first time, Emma saw him not as a fearsome warrior, but as a man trying to bridge the vast gap between their worlds. 2 weeks passed, and Emma found herself adapting to life among the Lakota more quickly than she would have thought possible. Her hands grew calloused, her skin bronzed under the relentless sun, and her understanding of the language improved with each passing day. Most surprising was her changing perception of Thunder Eagle. The marriage ceremony had been postponed at his insistence, a fact that both relieved and puzzled Emma. Morning Star explained that her son wanted Emma to learn their ways first, to choose this life rather than have it forced upon her. This unexpected consideration challenged everything Emma had believed about her situation. On this particular morning, Emma was grinding corn with the other women when Thunder Eagle approached. The women fell silent, some lowering their eyes in deference. He spoke directly to Emma, using simple Lakota words she had learned. Come, he said, gesturing toward the horses. I show you. Emma hesitated, looking to Morning Star for guidance. The older woman nodded encouragingly. Go with him. It is time you learned more of our ways. Emma wiped her hands on her deerskin dress, one Morning Star had made for her, and followed Thunder Eagle to where 2 horses waited. With surprising gentleness, he helped her mount before swinging effortlessly onto his own steed. They rode away from the camp, across rolling plains that stretched endlessly toward distant mountains. Emma had never ridden astride before, and she gripped the horse's mane tightly, her knuckles white with tension. Thunder Eagle noticed and slowed his pace, occasionally glancing back to ensure she was managing. After an hour's ride, they reached a secluded valley where a clear stream cut through lush grass. Thunder Eagle dismounted and helped Emma down, his strong hands lingering at her waist a moment longer than necessary. The contact sent an unexpected warmth through her body. Beautiful, he said in English, surprising her. He pointed to the valley, then to her. Like you. Emma felt heat rise to her cheeks. You speak English? Little, he admitted. Learning. For you. The revelation that this proud warrior was learning her language touched something deep within Emma. She had been studying his tongue, but never considered he might be doing the same. Thunder Eagle led her to the stream's edge and sat, indicating she should join him. From a pouch at his waist, he produced dried berries, offering them to her first. They ate in companionable silence, the babbling water and singing birds the only sounds between them. Finally, Thunder Eagle spoke, combining Lakota with the English words he knew. Through this halting communication, Emma began to understand his story. He had been taught some English by a missionary who had lived near their tribe years ago. The missionary had been killed during a cavalry attack, an event that had hardened Thunder Eagle's heart against white settlers. "Why accept me then?" Emma asked, struggling to form the question in Lakota. Thunder Eagle was quiet for a long moment. "Dreams," he finally said. "Saw you. Before. You dreamed of me? Before we met?" He nodded, his dark eyes intense. "Vision. Woman with fire hair. Bringing change." Emma touched her auburn locks self-consciously. "What kind of change?" Instead of answering, Thunder Eagle reached for something else in his pouch, a small carved wooden horse. He placed it in her palm, closing her fingers around it. "Made this. For you." The craftsmanship was exquisite, each detail of the horse rendered with careful precision. Emma was moved by the gift, understanding its significance in a culture where such offerings were expressions of deep feeling. "Thank you," she whispered, the Lakota words coming naturally now. Their eyes met, and Emma felt something shift between them, fear giving way to something more complex. Thunder Eagle reached out slowly, as if approaching a wild creature that might flee, and touched a strand of her hair. The tenderness of the gesture brought unexpected tears to her eyes. The moment was broken by the distant sound of hoofbeats. Thunder Eagle was instantly alert, listening intently before grabbing Emma's arm. "Soldiers," he said grimly. "Hide." He pulled her toward a cluster of rocks near the stream, tucking them both out of sight just as a patrol of cavalry soldiers appeared at the valley's edge. Emma's heart raced, not from fear of Thunder Eagle now, but from fear for him. She had heard stories of the cavalry's treatment of Native Americans caught alone. The patrol stopped to water their horses downstream. From their hiding place, Emma could hear their conversation. "Saw smoke from their camp over the ridge," one soldier said. "Lieutenant wants us to track their movements." "Waste of time," another replied. "Should just burn them out like the colonel did to that Cheyenne village." Emma felt Thunder Eagle tense beside her, his body coiled like a spring. She placed a restraining hand on his arm, silently pleading with him not to reveal their presence. His eyes flashed with anger, but he remained still. For 20 agonizing minutes they remained hidden as the soldiers rested. One man wandered closer to their position, and Emma held her breath, certain they would be discovered. But Thunder Eagle pulled her deeper into the shadows, his body shielding hers. Finally, the patrol mounted up and rode away. Thunder Eagle waited until they were well out of sight before helping Emma from their hiding place. His face was a mask of controlled fury. "This why my people fight," he said in English, his voice tight. "They take land, break treaties, speak peace, bring war." Emma couldn't argue with him. She had read about the broken treaties in newspaper accounts back east, had heard her uncle and his friends discuss the Indian problem, with callous disregard for the people whose lands they coveted. "Not all white people want war," she said softly. "Some want peace." Thunder Eagle studied her face. "You want peace?" "Yes." "Then we same." He mounted his horse and reached down to help her up, placing her in front of him this time, his arms encircling her as he took the reins. The intimacy of the position made Emma's pulse quicken, but she felt no fear, only a growing sense of security in his presence. They rode back to camp in silence, but it was a different silence than before, charged with unspoken understanding. As they approached the village, Emma noticed increased activity, warriors gathering, women packing supplies. "What's happening?" she asked. Thunder Eagle's expression darkened. "Soldiers near, we move camp tonight." That evening the tribe worked quickly to dismantle lodges and pack belongings. Emma helped Morning Star, her movements now practiced and efficient. As they worked, the older woman spoke. "My son watches you differently now," she observed, "and you no longer flinch when he approaches." Emma couldn't deny the truth of the statement. "He is not what I expected." Morning Star smiled knowingly. The heart sees what is hidden from the eyes. By nightfall, the camp was ready to move. Thunder Eagle approached Emma as she finished loading Morning Star's belongings onto a travois. "You come?" he asked, and Emma understood he was giving her a choice. The cavalry's proximity meant she could potentially return to white society if she wished. She thought of her uncle, of the life she had left behind, of the uncertain future that awaited her if she stayed with the Lakota. Then she looked at Thunder Eagle, the warrior who carved wooden horses, who was learning her language, who had shielded her with his own body. "I come," she said firmly, taking his offered hand. As they rode away from the campsite under the cover of darkness, Emma felt Thunder Eagle's arm tighten protectively around her waist. For the first time since arriving in this wild territory, she felt she was exactly where she belonged. The tribe traveled north for 3 days, moving deeper into Lakota Territory, where the cavalry seldom ventured. They established a new camp near a dense forest that provided both shelter and hunting grounds. Throughout the journey, Thunder Eagle remained close to Emma, teaching her to ride properly, pointing out landmarks, and continuing their halting conversations in their mixed language. By the time they settled in the new location, something fundamental had changed between them. The fear that had initially defined their relationship had transformed into mutual respect and a tentative trust. Emma found herself watching for Thunder Eagle when he was away hunting, her heart quickening when he returned. For his part, he brought her small gifts, a particularly beautiful feather, sweet berries he had found, a bracelet of polished stones he had crafted himself. "In our way," Morningstar explained when Emma showed her the bracelet, "these are the steps of courtship. My son is asking you to choose him, not because of an arrangement but from your heart." Emma turned the bracelet over in her hands, admiring how the sunlight played across the stones. "I thought I had no choice in this marriage." The older woman shook her head. "There is always choice." Thunder Eagle told his father he would not take an unwilling wife, even to honor an agreement. He said he would find another way to maintain peace with the trading post. This revelation stunned Emma. All this time she had believed herself trapped in an arrangement neither of them wanted. To learn that Thunder Eagle had stood against tradition for her sake changed everything. That evening, as the community gathered around the central fire for the night meal, Emma took special care with her appearance. She wore the bracelet Thunder Eagle had given her and asked one of the young women to help her braid her hair in the Lakota style, with small beads woven into the plaits. When she joined the circle, Thunder Eagle's eyes found her immediately. He saw the bracelet on her wrist, the effort she had made with her appearance, and a rare smile transformed his stern features. He moved aside, making space for her beside him, a public acknowledgement of their changing relationship that caused murmurs of approval through the gathering. As they ate, their shoulders occasionally brushing, Emma felt a contentment she hadn't expected to find in this place so far from her former home. The firelight cast a warm glow over the faces around her, people who had begun as strangers but were slowly becoming something like family. The peaceful moment was shattered by the sudden arrival of a rider, a young warrior whose horse was lathered from hard riding. He spoke rapidly in Lakota, too quickly for Emma to follow, but she understood enough to recognize words for soldiers and attack. The camp erupted into activity. Thunder Eagle rose immediately, his expression hardening into the mask of the warrior. He issued commands, and men began collecting weapons while women gathered children. Emma stood, uncertain what to do until Morningstar gripped her arm. "A cavalry unit attacked a small hunting party from our tribe near the white settlement," she explained grimly. "2 of our young men were killed. The others escaped to warn us." "What will happen now?" Emma asked, dread pooling in her stomach. "The warriors will go to protect our people still returning from hunting. They fear the soldiers may follow the survivors back to our camp." Emma watched as Thunder Eagle strapped a knife to his belt and took up his bow and quiver. Their eyes met across the chaos of the camp, and he came to her, his expression intense. "Stay with my mother," he said in their combined language. "If soldiers come, hide in forest." Emma grabbed his arm. "Be careful," she said, surprising herself with how deeply she meant it, how terrified she was at the thought of him facing cavalry rifles. Something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, tenderness, determination. He reached out to touch her cheek briefly. "I return to you," he promised. He turned to leave, but Emma couldn't let him go without saying what had been growing in her heart. "Thunder Eagle," she called, and when he looked back she said in careful Lakota, "I choose you." The words hung between them, their significance unmistakable. For a moment, all the activity around them seemed to fade away. Then Thunder Eagle stepped forward and, in full view of the tribe, placed his hand gently behind her neck and touched his forehead to hers, an intimate gesture of connection. "I return," he repeated, his voice carrying absolute conviction, before turning to join the other warriors. Emma watched them ride out, 20 strong, disappearing into the gathering dusk. Morning Star came to stand beside her, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Come," the older woman said. "We must prepare in case we need to move again." Through the night, Emma helped the remaining tribal members pack essential items and prepare for possible evacuation. Children were kept close, horses tethered for quick departure. All the while, her thoughts remained with Thunder Eagle, imagining him confronting armed soldiers, placing himself in danger. Dawn came with no word from the warriors. Emma stood at the edge of camp, scanning the horizon until her eyes ached. Morning Star brought her food that went untouched and herbal tea that grew cold in her hands. "My son is strongest of our warriors," Morning Star said, trying to comfort her. "Many times he has faced danger and returned. But never because of someone like me," Emma replied, the guilt she'd been harboring finally surfacing. "If not for arrangements with people like my uncle, your tribe might not have these troubles with the cavalry." Morning Star's weathered face softened with understanding. "The troubles between our people and yours began long before you came to us. Do not carry that weight on your shoulders." As the sun climbed higher, tension in the camp grew. Then, shortly after midday, a sentry's call alerted them to approaching riders. Emma's heart leapt to her throat as she strained to see if Thunder Eagle was among them. The warriors returned, fewer than had left. Some bore wounds, their faces grim. Emma searched frantically for Thunder Eagle but couldn't find him among the first group. Just as panic began to set in, a second group appeared on the ridge, and there he was, supporting an injured warrior on his horse, his own shoulder darkened with what could only be blood. Emma ran to him as he entered the camp, heedless of the stares her behavior attracted. Thunder Eagle dismounted carefully, helping the wounded man down before turning to Emma. His face was streaked with dirt and blood, but his eyes softened when they met hers. "You're hurt," she said, reaching toward his shoulder. "Small wound," he replied dismissively, though she could see he was favoring that arm. Inside their lodge, Emma insisted on treating his injury, a bullet graze that had torn through muscle, but, fortunately, hadn't lodged in his body. She cleaned the wound with water and herbs Morning Star provided, her hands gentle but sure. As she worked, Thunder Eagle told her what had happened. They had intercepted the cavalry unit pursuing their hunters, using the forest to their advantage. There had been fighting, casualties on both sides. Eventually, the soldiers had retreated, but the tribe was no longer safe in this location. "We move again," he said. "Tomorrow, farther north." Emma nodded, tying off the bandage on his shoulder. "I'll go wherever you go," she said quietly. Thunder Eagle caught her hand, his calloused fingers warm against her skin. "Why you change?" he asked, his brow furrowed in genuine confusion. "First, fear me. Now I see you," Emma replied simply. "Not the warrior others fear, but the man beneath. The man who gives me choices, who learns my language, who protects not just with strength but with honor." He drew her closer, his free hand coming up to touch her hair. "When uncle trade you, I angry. Say no to arrangement. But father insist, need peace with traitors. And now? Is it still just an arrangement to you?" Thunder Eagle shook his head slowly. "Now is heart choice. For both." He leaned forward, hesitant, asking permission with his eyes. Emma answered by closing the distance between them, their lips meeting in a kiss that began gently but quickly deepened with weeks of building emotion. When they finally parted, both slightly breathless, Thunder Eagle rested his forehead against hers. "Tomorrow, before we leave this place, I ask you properly to be my wife. No trade, no arrangement, only our choice." Emma smiled, happiness bubbling up inside her despite the danger surrounding them. "And I will say yes," she promised, "in both our languages so there can be no misunderstanding." Outside their lodge, the tribe prepared for another journey, uncertainty hanging heavy in the air. But within the shelter of those hide walls, Emma and Thunder Eagle had found something neither had expected, a bridge between two worlds, and the promise of a shared path forward. The sunrise painted the sky in brilliant shades of orange and pink as Emma stood beside Thunder Eagle before the assembled tribe. She wore a special dress Morning Star had helped her create, adorned with intricate beadwork that had taken them most of the night to complete. Her auburn hair was braided with feathers and small blue beads, and around her neck hung a pendant of polished stone that had belonged to Thunder Eagle's grandmother. Despite the tribe's need to move quickly, Chief Gray Wolf had insisted they take time for a proper marriage ceremony. Even in times of trouble, he had said, we must honor life's important moments. This union may help bring peace between our peoples. Emma and Thunder Eagle stood hand in hand as the chief spoke words of blessing in Lakota. Thunder Eagle translated softly for Emma, explaining the significance of each part of the ceremony. They drank from the same bowl, shared food from the same plate, and were wrapped together in a single blanket to symbolize their joined lives. When it came time to speak their promises, Thunder Eagle surprised Emma by addressing her first in perfect, practiced English. I take you as my wife, he said carefully, each word pronounced with determination. Not because of agreement between men, but because my heart chooses you. I promise to protect you, provide for you, and walk beside you through all seasons. Tears welled in Emma's eyes at the effort he had made to speak these words in her language. She responded in the Lakota phrases Morning Star had taught her, promising to honor him, to create a home with him, to be his partner in all things. The ceremony concluded with songs and prayers for their future. As the final notes faded, Thunder Eagle leaned down to kiss her, a gesture not traditional in Lakota weddings, but one he adopted from her culture. The tribe erupted in approving calls and laughter. There was little time for celebration beyond a shared meal. Within hours, the camp was dismantled, belongings packed onto travois, and the tribe ready to move. They would travel north and west, deeper into territory controlled by Lakota allies, away from the increasing encroachment of white settlers and soldiers. As they rode, now on a single horse with Emma secure in front of Thunder Eagle, she leaned back against his chest, feeling the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. I never imagined my life would take this turn, she admitted. When my uncle first brought me to your camp, I thought my future was lost. Thunder Eagle's arm tightened around her waist. Great Spirit has strange path for us, brings together what seems cannot be joined. Do you think there's hope for peace between our peoples? She asked, voicing the question that had occupied her thoughts since the cavalry attack. He was silent for a long moment. Hard path, he finally said. Much blood spilled, much broken trust. But if you and I find peace together, perhaps others can too. They traveled for 5 days, stopping only for brief rests. On the 6th day, they arrived at their destination, a hidden valley nestled between protective ridges, with a clear stream running through its center and abundant game in the surrounding forests. Other allied bands were already encamped there, creating a larger community that offered greater security. As they established their new lodge, Emma found herself welcomed by the women of the allied bands, her unique position as Thunder Eagle's white wife a source of curiosity rather than hostility. She shared her knowledge of reading and writing with interested tribal members, while they taught her more about plants, hunting, and the spiritual practices of the Lakota. Weeks passed, and life settled into a rhythm in the new camp. Emma's skills with languages helped facilitate communication between different bands, and she began recording Lakota stories and traditions in written form, a project that earned her respect among the elders who worried their ways might be lost in changing times. One crisp autumn morning, Thunder Eagle took Emma to a high point overlooking the valley. The trees blazed with fall colors, and the distant plains stretched endlessly toward the horizon. They sat together, sharing dried berries and watching eagles circle overhead. Happy? Thunder Eagle asked, his English improving daily through their conversations. Emma smiled, leaning against his shoulder. Yes, though I sometimes wonder what happened to my uncle, if the trading post still stands. Thunder Eagle's expression grew serious. News came yesterday. Riders from south. Emma sat up straighter, sensing important information. What news? Your uncle's trading post, burned by soldiers. They think he helped Lakota. Emma gasped. Is he? Alive, taken to fort, will stand trial for Indian sympathizing. The irony wasn't lost on either of them. The man who had traded his niece to the Lakota now accused of supporting them. That's terrible, Emma said, genuinely concerned despite her complicated feelings toward her uncle. No one should be punished for seeking peaceful relations. Thunder Eagle nodded, his expression thoughtful. Chief Grey Wolf wants to send delegation to fort. Speak for your uncle. Show soldiers not all Lakota want war. Will you go? Emma asked, worry immediately flooding her heart. Must go. I am Chief's son, strong warrior. He looked at her intently. But also married to white woman who reads and writes. Maybe you come too. Help speak between our peoples. The suggestion shocked Emma. Return to white society? Wouldn't that be dangerous for you? Yes, dangerous for both. He didn't minimize the risk. But hiding in mountains not answer forever. Someone must try to build bridge. Emma considered his words, understanding the significance of what he proposed. This wasn't just about her uncle. It was about attempting something unprecedented, using their unique relationship to open dialogue between increasingly hostile sides. When would we leave? She asked, decision forming in her mind. 3 days, with 5 warriors and medicine man. Carry peace pipe and white flag. Emma took his hands in hers, her expression resolute. Then I'll go with you. We'll face this challenge together, as we've faced everything since I came to your people. Thunder Eagle smiled, pride evident in his eyes. You have warrior's heart in woman's body. That evening they shared their decision with Chief Grey Wolf and the Council of Elders. There was concern, especially from Morning Star, but also recognition that Emma and Thunder Eagle's unusual union presented a unique opportunity to demonstrate peaceful coexistence. We will carry letters of safe passage, Emma assured them, writing out formal requests in her elegant script. And I know the commanding officer at the fort. He visited my father in Boston years ago. He's a reasonable man who favors diplomacy over conflict. The next 3 days were filled with preparation. Emma sewed a new dress that combined elements of both cultures, the cut similar to those worn by white women, but adorned with Lakota beadwork and symbols. Thunder Eagle wore his finest ceremonial attire, but agreed to leave most weapons behind, carrying only a hunting knife as would be expected of any man on the frontier. On the morning of their departure, Morning Star embraced Emma tightly. You came to us as a stranger, she said, her voice thick with emotion. You leave as my daughter. Return safely to us. The small delegation set out at dawn, carrying gifts and peace offerings. As they rode south, Emma felt a strange mixture of anxiety and hope. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with danger, but also possibility. What do you think will happen? She asked Thunder Eagle as they made camp on the first night. He stared into the fire, considering her question. Cannot know. But we try. Show another way than fighting. And after? If we succeed? Thunder Eagle reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers. Build life together, teach others. Maybe start school for children, both Lakota and white. Learn from each other. Emma's heart swelled at the vision he described. A place where neither has to give up their ways entirely, but where we learn the best from both worlds. Yes, he said, smiling, like us. As they continued their journey the following days, Emma reflected on how dramatically her life had changed since that fateful day. Her uncle's wagon had stopped at the edge of the Lakota camp. What had begun as a transaction between men had transformed into something neither culture could have predicted, a genuine partnership based on respect, understanding, and love. When the fort appeared on the horizon on the 4th day of travel, Emma felt Thunder Eagle tense behind her. She turned slightly to look at his face, seeing the apprehension he tried to hide. Remember, she said softly, we face this together. Whatever happens, we've already proven that 2 people from different worlds can find common ground. Thunder Eagle nodded, his expression softening as he looked at her. You gave me new eyes, he said. Before you saw only enemies and white faces. Now see people, some good, some bad. Like all peoples. Human, you showed me courage I didn't know I possessed, Emma replied. Whatever happens at the fort, that gift remains. They approached slowly, the white flag held high by the lead warrior. Soldiers on the walls shouted alerts, and soon the gates opened to reveal a contingent of armed men led by a gray-haired officer in a formal uniform. Emma straightened her back, drawing strength from Thunder Eagle's presence beside her. As they prepared to face whatever reception awaited them, she knew with absolute certainty that their journey together, begun in fear and trade, transformed by understanding and choice, had only just begun. The real challenge of building a bridge between worlds still lay ahead, but they would face it as they now faced all things, together, with open hearts and the courage to imagine a different future than the one history seemed determined to write.